When I had longer hair, I literally spent close to 8 hours on a Sunday doing my hair. It was like having a second full-time job. It was a lot. So basically I have a life, but not really, because there's nowhere to go and all the shops are shut because of COVID. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of doing the big chop or of having shorter natural hair. If you haven't seen that video already, I will leave it in the cards above. Make sure that you check it out. But in today's video, it's kind of like a part 2 of the first one. If you are interested in knowing what they are, then just keep on watching this video. Also, if you enjoy curly hair content from me, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when I post a new video. And without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to talk about the pros first. Hopefully the most obvious one will be the wash days, and styling is so much easier when you have shorter hair and when you do the big chop, because you have less hair length that you're having to detangle, that you're having to wash. It usually means less tangles, and it's just so much easier. Like, my wash day is literally cut in half since I've cut my hair. I have had my hair for close to 6 months now, and honestly, it has been the best 6 months of wash days in my life. When I had longer hair, I literally spent close to 8 hours on a Sunday doing my hair. It was like having a second full-time job. It was a lot. So basically I have a life, but not really, because there's nowhere to go and all the shops are shut because of COVID. And if you're just someone who doesn't have time like that to do your hair, then that is one massive pro of doing the big chop and having shorter hair, is you just have so much more time for yourself, so much more time for other things, because not everyone wants to spend all day doing their hair. So the second pro that I noticed, I can't speak for everyone, but that I noticed when I done the big chop, was that I really learned to embrace how I am and how I look more. And this might sound so cliche to some people, but it really did change how I viewed myself. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I still have a lot to work on with myself. You know, everyone has something to work on. You know, no one's perfect. But having shorter hair really taught me to care less about how I feel about myself and how I think or how I look on days. Because sometimes, you know, when you just don't look great or you don't feel great. And I think sometimes the reason why I felt particularly bad is if I was having a bad hair day. But shorter hair has definitely taught me that even if I'm having a bad hair day, not to be so judgmental and hard on myself, because at the end of the day, you're more than just your hair and you're more than how you look. You're so much more inside. And I think just fixating too much on how you look all the time, it's not healthy. So I really do feel like having shorter hair has really helped me to embrace how I look and who I am and who I am becoming. It's definitely helped me with confidence, because I just feel like I care less about things that were just so important before. They weren't really important. The pro that I have for when you want to big chop or if you have shorter hair is that it's honestly one of the best times to experiment with hair products. And this goes especially for if you were someone who's newly natural. So maybe if you in the past haven't really used natural hair products, or if you don't know where to start. And because shorter hair typically takes less time to style and wash and detangle in general, you'll have so much more time to experiment and trial and error with hair products. As your hair grows out more, you might find that you wash your hair less often, and therefore you don't have time to experiment with hair products. I am not a newly natural. When I big chopped, I had already been natural for just over 2 years. And I kind of knew already like what worked for me. But since having shorter hair, I have been experimenting more with things that usually I probably wouldn't even consider using when my hair was longer. I done a wash and go a few weeks ago. I think I used the African Pride curling cream with the curling mousse, because I was gifted that in a subscription box. And I never would have used a mousse for a wash and go ever. I felt that because my hair was more tightly textured, then mousses would not work for my wash and goes. I tried it, and I tried it with a curling cream, and I actually really liked the results. And I did learn from that experience that just because my hair was longer, that this didn't work for me, that it doesn't mean the same for when my hair's shorter. And the fourth pro that I have is that you're starting off with new hair. You know, you're starting off with hair that's just grown out of the scalp. It's the healthiest that it can be. You're not going to have any form of damage, heat damage, chemical damage, over processed hair. It's all new, it's healthy, it's just grown out of the scalp. It's like a baby. It's like a baby. We talked about the pros, and now we're going to talk about the cons. One of the main cons is that you have less versatility for your hairstyles. So if you are someone who likes to experiment a lot, for instance, if you like to do different twist outs and braid outs, which you still can do on shorter hair, but it just won't look the same because you have less length to work with, then you may want to consider how often you plan on wearing your hair out when it's shorter, and maybe work around when you're going to wear your hair in its big chop state, and then also when you're going to wear it maybe in a more protective style, so that you still are having that versatility and you're not getting bored. The second con that I have is that not everyone's going to be in favor of you wanting to do the big chop or you wanting to have shorter hair, and that's okay. So you might have maybe family, your partner, your close friends, your work colleagues, even strangers on the street telling you how your hair should look or how your hair does look if you have already gone through with the big chop process. And you have to remember that at the end of the day, everyone's gonna have an opinion, but only opinion that matters is your own. You're the one who has to look at your hair every day. You know, you're the one who has to shampoo it, condition it, moisturize it. No one else is gonna do that. And you're the one who is going to come out of that house and look fly as heck. Also not let how they feel about you wanting to do this for yourself and for your hair impact your decision. Third con that I have is that you may not even like your hair once you have big chopped it, and that's okay. If you have maybe started with texturized hair or relaxed hair or transitioned, you may be surprised by how your hair texture looks once you have completely cut it to a super short length and once you only have new growth to work with. Honestly, feel like a lot of people have mixed emotions when they have their big chop. Some people are relieved, some people are happy, some people are emotional, some people just feel like they've had a weight lifted off their shoulder, quite literally. And some people don't even end up liking it, but that's okay. It's okay to feel all of those feelings because it is quite a big change, especially if you are going from having longer hair or maybe even if you've had colored or relaxed hair for most of your life. One thing that I would suggest if you are somebody who just cannot stand your natural hair is watch YouTubers, search people who have similar textures to you, or just fill your Instagram feed with people with that texture. You never even know, over time, just seeing that and seeing how confident they are with their hair, how they embrace their hair, and also if they happen to have curly hair tips, if they're giving advice based on their texture and you have a similar texture to them, you may end up falling in love with your hair over time. Sometimes learning to love things about ourselves or how things naturally are comes in time. It's not always an immediate thing. So also remember that natural hair journeys are not just going to be full of all of the positive things. It's going to be filled with ups and downs, just like in life. You know, life is full of ups and downs. The same goes for natural hair journeys. So we've come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up and also comment down below if it was helpful and if you'd like to see more content like this. If you enjoyed this video, also make sure that you hit the subscribe button so that you can see more videos from me in the future, and also hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when I post a new video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.